This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
After joining the Heenan family, Bundy's going to feud pretty extensively with Andre the Giant. Bundy interferes in one of Andre's matches and delivers several splashes, giving the Giant a kayfabe broken sternum. And then on the September 23rd, 1985 Madison Square Garden show, Bundy would face Andre the Giant in a match that was billed the Colossal Jostle. Well, you guys were determined to work that fucking.
Stop it with Colossal. That's not true.
That's actually what we call it whenever me and Silva go hit a buffet together pre-COVID.
So I was going to say.
Yeah. Andre dominates the match. The match ends after Big John Studd comes in from the locker rooms to Bundy's aid and attacks the Giant, causing a DQ. There were other stories that Andre was notorious for liking or disliking rather other big man wrestlers. I think it's pretty legendary, his feud with Big John Studd behind the scenes. And somehow Bundy managed to rub the boss the wrong way too. In an interview, King Kong Bundy said he always believed that Andre didn't like him over what Andre perceived to be disrespect after a match. Bundy claims after a match, he patted Andre on the back and joked he was ready for the Garden, and Andre didn't take that too well. And other stories have said that they thought Andre found Bundy to be arrogant. Chat me up about this. Did you see this? Andre just being outright mean to other big guys just because he felt like maybe they were taking his shine away.
I don't know. Andre did not have a fondness for other big guys that were in that Giant category. Let's say that. So Andre, I don't know if it's jealousy, just protecting himself, but I can't think of too many big guys that Andre was really fond of. Don Leo Jonathan was definitely one of them that he allegedly was fond of, and they got along well. There are others, but as far as Bundy being arrogant, I could see that perception. I don't believe that Chris was arrogant. I think that's just the Jersey in him and the way that Chris handled himself. He was a smart ass. Chris was always a smart ass and always had something to say, but I don't know him to ever really be too mean spirited. And he just was one of those wise ass Jersey guys.
Hypothetically, if Andre didn't like you, what would you try to do to fix that? Do you think?
You could try bringing him a bottle of wine every day and just be nicer to him. You know what? I mean, I really don't know. Because if the boss didn't like you, then the boss didn't like you, and it would take an awful lot sometimes to get beyond that. With me, boss liked Bruce, but he hated Brother Love. And that was a weird thing because I was Brother Love and he just he hated the character of Brother Love. And sometimes the boss would just become childlike in a way.
Later in 1986, Bundy would reform his tag team partnership with Big John Studd and start a feud with the Machines, Bill Eadie and Blackjack Mulligan, wrestling under masks as Super Machine and Big Machine, respectively. They were sometimes joined by Andre the Giant as Giant Machine. And the storyline was that Bundy and Studd, along with Heenan, claimed that the Giant Machine was a masked Andre the Giant. And he's competing under the mask and an alias to circumvent an earlier stipulation. But no one was ever able to prove that Andre was the Giant Machine and they were one and the same. Eventually, Bundy and Studd began teaming up with Heenan in a series of 6-man tags against the Machines. Usually it's Big and Super, as Andre's health is continuing to deteriorate at this time. And occasionally they would slide somebody else in there, like Captain Lou or Hulk Hogan. They would all, be a part of the Machines. And Bundy and Studd were regularly beaten, but won their last match over the super big version of the Machines at Madison Square Garden. This is a piece of history that, for whatever reason, a certain section of fans are really fascinated with. The idea that, you've got Andre the Giant wearing a machine mask. What can you tell us about the machines? Was this hokey? Did you like it for the time, or was this too childlike for you?
No, I always loved the idea of someone that was suspended or banned for whatever reason to be able to come back under a mask when it's obviously them and deny it. To me, that was wrestling. That was the beauty of it all. So no one was ever able to prove that Andre was Giant Machine. Could have been a giant Japanese wrestler from Mount Fuji that came down from the mountain and donned a mask one day, hence Giant Machine. And whenever you're that big, I mean, it's usually smell and sound alike.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.